We've seen Donald Trump in a Manhattan courtroom over the past couple of weeks for his hush money trial. Do you think his legal challenges in general are going to impact the election?
They could, but I've got to tell you, and I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm conservative, but I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm not a never Trumper either. But I've got to tell you, I think that the trial is just outrageous. This was a minor issue, normally dealt with, whether or not it was a correct bookkeeping case or something, normally dealt with as a misdemeanor. The statute of limitations has run out on that. The issue of whether it affected the 2016 election. Now, 2016 election is a case that the federal government decided not to bring. They just didn't think it was a case. Alvin Bragg ran, and so did Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, ran on the idea that they would get Trump and they would find an issue to do it. And they've done so. And essentially, and remember, Hillary Clinton paid money for the Steele dossier. She did it through a law firm. New York didn't prosecute that. It was well known at the time. So there are issues, I think, about what Republicans call lawfare, and I think those are completely legitimate issues. And it's just the biggest thing on CNN and MSNBC. They couldn't be happier. The last time they were this happy was when the Malaysian airplane disappeared. They could fill up their airtime for 2 months without having to do anything.
Do you think voters care in general about his legal issues, and do you think their minds will change at all, one way or another, if he is found guilty?
Yes, I think that if he is found guilty, that could hurt him. It certainly won't help him. I do think that what is really hurting him is that he's being kept off the campaign trail. That's just ludicrous. There's no reason. This judge, I should say, the judge's gag order is also incredibly broad. It seems to cover the judge's daughter. Now, I don't like the fact that Trump attacks other people. I can see why not naming the jurors, that they should be protected. I can see that. I don't see why in a public trial the judge is protected from statements outside of court. I don't see why other witnesses against Trump can say things against him. Michael Cohen can come out and say anything he wants. But if Trump responds to Michael Cohen, that's a violation. I don't see how that's fair. But the biggest problem is that it's election interference to keep Trump off of the campaign trail through the entire trial. And I've got to say that Jack Smith wants to conduct a trial in the middle of the campaign too. The Justice Department had a rule, just a rule, that you wouldn't indict people in the 60 days prior to the election. That was too short, in my opinion. It should have been, 120 days or something. But the point was to prevent this kind of election interference. If Merrick Garland had a backbone, he would have said to Jack Smith, you can bring this case, but you cannot bring it until mid-November, after the election. But they didn't do that. And there's just no question that Jack Smith is out to get Trump. They didn't bring any case against Joe Biden for all of the documents that he had, including documents that went back to his Senate days that had to have been taken out of a secure room called a SCIF, which he had no permission to do. And he put them in his garage. Then he talked about those with his biographer, and the biographer had access to these documents. No indictment about that. And now there is one difference in the Trump case in Florida, that they can claim that Trump tried to mislead them about what documents he had. That is a difference. But I do think that the public can see that the entire government under Joe Biden is mobilized legally against Donald Trump. I just think it's outrageous whether he wins the contest or not. And like I said, I'm not saying this as a boy, I'm waving Trump's flag. I just think it's fundamentally unfair. The, the law should be fair to everyone. And when Alvin Bragg and his team say, oh, no one is above the law, that's right, but no one should be beneath it either.